There are moments in life when the weight feels unbearable, when your spirit grows weary, and your strength fades into silence. You look around and see others running ahead, and you begin to wonder if your journey even matters anymore. You've prayed, you've tried, you've given everything you had, and yet the breakthrough hasn't come. My friend, it's in these very moments that you are standing on the edge of something sacred. The greatest victories in life often come right after the point where most people quit. Do not quit. When your faith feels small, hold on to the truth that even a flicker of light can pierce through the darkest night. When your heart feels broken, remember that the same hands that allow storms also have the power to calm them. You may feel abandoned, but you are not forgotten. You may feel weak, but you are being refined. Every tear you shed is watering the seeds of something greater that you cannot yet see. Every dream worth living for will test you. Every purpose worth pursuing will stretch you. The easy road may look tempting, but it never builds the character required to carry greatness. The world is filled with people who almost made it, who almost found their calling, almost changed their story, almost saw the miracle. They were one prayer away, one decision away, one act of courage away. But they quit. Do not quit. You were not created to live in defeat. You were not made to give up halfway up the mountain. The climb is steep, yes. But at the top, the view is worth every tear, every scar, every long night when you wanted to give up. Remember, the enemy of your soul doesn't need to destroy you. He only needs to convince you to stop. There's a reason the diamond shines so brightly. It was formed under pressure. There's a reason gold is valuable. It was purified through fire. And there's a reason your struggle feels so heavy, because what you carry inside you has eternal worth. When the voice of doubt whispers, "You're not strong enough," answer it with the truth. I don't need to be strong enough, because strength is built in the struggle. When fear says, "You'll never make it," reply, "I've come too far to turn back now." Every step forward, no matter how small, is a declaration that you refuse to surrender. Some of you are standing in the middle of the storm right now. The wind is fierce, the waves are high, and your heart is trembling. But listen to me, storms don't last forever. The same God who guided you into the storm will guide you out of it. What you think is the end of your story is often the beginning of your transformation. The test you're facing today may be the very testimony that saves someone tomorrow. Do not quit, because someone is watching you. A child, a friend, a stranger. They're looking for a reason to keep going. Your perseverance may become the spark that reignites hope in another person's heart. You may not realize it, but your courage has the power to ripple through generations. You see, quitting is easy. Anyone can walk away when life gets hard. But standing firm in faith, when everything inside you screams, "Give up," that's where heroes are born. That's where destiny is shaped. So lift your head, wipe your tears, straighten your back, and remind your soul, this is not how my story ends. You may be tired, but you are not finished. You may be wounded, but you are not defeated. There is still breath in your lungs, which means there is still purpose in your life. The pain you feel today will one day become the power that fuels your tomorrow. The struggle you're facing is not meant to break you, but to build you. Every great chapter of history was written by someone who refused to quit when it would have been easier to walk away. So, when the road gets hard, and it will, remember these words: do not quit. When your heart is heavy and your hands are trembling, whisper it again: do not quit. And when you finally see the dawn after the longest night, You'll realize that every moment you chose to keep going was worth it. Endurance inspires others. Those three words carry a power that can change lives, generations, and even the world. When you refuse to give up, even when the odds are stacked against you, your quiet strength becomes a message to everyone watching that hope still lives, that faith still works, and that perseverance is still possible. Every time you rise after being knocked down, someone somewhere finds the courage to stand again. They might not say it aloud, but they're watching you. The way you face your storms, the way you hold your ground when life shakes you to your core. And while you may think no one notices your pain, there's someone drawing strength from your endurance. That's the beauty of perseverance. It not only transforms your life, but becomes a lifeline for others. We live in a world that celebrates success, but often overlooks the struggle behind it. People see the victory, but rarely the tears, the late nights, the silent prayers whispered in desperation. They see the summit, but not the climb. Yet it's the climb that carries the lesson. It's the endurance, the decision to take one more step, one more breath, one more act of faith that reveals the true strength of the human spirit. When you refuse to quit, you're making a statement to the universe: I may bend, but I will not break. You're showing others that pain is not permanent, that darkness is not final, and that defeat is not destiny. And when others see that kind of faith in motion, it awakens something inside them. It stirs belief where there was once doubt. It builds courage where there was once fear. There are people right now who need your endurance more than your success. They don't need to see you at the top. They need to see you keep climbing when the mountain feels impossible. Because in your persistence, they find permission to keep believing. You become a living testimony that the human spirit can endure far more than it thinks it can. Think about it. How many times have you drawn strength from someone else's endurance? Maybe it was a parent who worked tirelessly to provide for their family, or a friend who faced illness with unwavering faith. Maybe it was someone you've never met, a story, a quote, a video that reminded you to hold on just a little longer. Endurance creates ripples that extend far beyond what we can see. Your persistence today could be the reason someone else chooses to fight tomorrow. And endurance doesn't always look loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. It's the mother who prays through her tears, the student who keeps studying despite failure, the dreamer who keeps believing when the world calls them foolish. These are the silent warriors of faith, the ones who keep walking when their legs tremble, who keep smiling when their hearts ache. They may never make headlines, but they change lives. When you endure, you show others that they too can endure. You become living proof that strength is not the absence of pain, but the decision to move forward in spite of it. Your scars become symbols of survival, not shame. Your story becomes a roadmap for those lost in their own storms. There's a kind of sacred responsibility that comes with endurance. Because the truth is, your life isn't just about you. The trials you face, the battles you fight, the pain you overcome, it all serves a greater purpose. Every time you choose not to quit, you're lighting a path for someone else to follow. Someone who feels like giving up will see your story and think, if they can make it, maybe I can too. Even history itself is built upon endurance. Every breakthrough, every revolution, every moment of change came because someone refused to give up. Inventors, leaders, dreamers, they all faced ridicule, failure, and rejection. But they pressed on, and because they did, we live in the light of their perseverance. Endurance doesn't just shape heroes, it shapes humanity. It is the thread that connects generations, the silent promise that even when everything falls apart, the will to rise again will never die. The beauty of endurance is that it multiplies. One act of perseverance can ignite 1,000 more. So when life hits you hard, and it will, remember that how you respond matters. The world doesn't just need more success stories. It needs more stories of endurance, stories that remind us that strength is not found in never falling, but in rising again and again. You may not see the impact now, but every step you take forward is inspiring someone else to take their own. There will be days when you want to give up, when your prayers feel unanswered and your strength feels spent. In those moments, look beyond yourself. Think of those who look up to you, even silently. Think of the hearts you might be strengthening without knowing it. Sometimes, the greatest reason to endure isn't your own victory, but the hope you give to others through your example. Endurance is contagious. When one person refuses to surrender, it creates a chain reaction of courage. Your endurance can become someone's lifeline, someone's reminder that miracles are still possible for those who hold on just a little longer. And remember this, endurance doesn't mean you never feel weak. It means you keep moving despite weakness. It doesn't mean you never cry. It means you cry, then rise again. It doesn't mean you never doubt. It means your faith outweighs your fear. That kind of endurance, real, raw, human endurance, is what inspires the world. So keep going, even when you're tired, even when you don't see results, even when it feels like no one understands. Because someone, somewhere, is watching your journey and finding hope in your strength. Your endurance is the living proof that the human heart can break and still beat. It's the evidence that light can still shine in the darkest night. In time, your endurance will tell a story far greater than any success could. It will say, I was pressed, but not crushed. I was struck down, but not destroyed. I walked through fire, but I did not burn. And those who hear your story will believe, perhaps for the first time, that they too can survive their storms. Faith over feelings, those three words carry a truth that has the power to change the way we live, the way we endure, and the way we rise after falling. Feelings are temporary. They shift like the wind. One moment you feel strong, confident, ready to face the world. The next, you feel broken, uncertain, and alone. But faith is not built on what you feel. It's built on what you know to be true, even when everything around you says otherwise. Faith is choosing to believe that there's still light ahead, even when all you can see is darkness. There will be days when your emotions betray you, when the weight of your worries crushes your confidence and your heart whispers that you've had enough. You may wake up feeling empty, like every ounce of strength has drained out of you. But those are the moments when faith steps in and takes over where feelings fall short. Faith says, keep walking. The ground will appear beneath your feet. Faith says, you are not alone. You are being carried. Faith says, this season will not last forever. Feelings are loud. They scream fear, doubt, anger, and pain. They tell you to quit because you're tired, to give up because it's too hard, to stop believing because you can't see the result yet. But faith whispers. It speaks softly but powerfully, reminding you that what's unseen is often more real than what's visible. Faith reminds you that storms have a purpose, and that silence doesn't mean abandonment. Faith reminds you that there's a plan greater than your understanding, and that even your deepest pain is not wasted. There are people who live their lives governed by emotion. When they feel good, they move forward. When they don't, they stop. But the strongest souls, the ones who rise when others fall, are those who walk by faith, not by sight. They don't wait for the perfect moment to act. They move even when fear grips them. They don't rely on motivation to continue. They rely on conviction. Faith is not pretending everything is fine when it isn't. It's acknowledging the pain, facing the struggle, and still saying, I believe there's more to my story. It's understanding that even when your feelings tell you to run, faith tells you to stand. Even when your emotions tell you to hide, faith calls you to step into the storm. Because sometimes the greatest miracles happen in the middle of the chaos. Think about it. If you only followed your feelings, how many blessings would you miss? How many breakthroughs would slip away just because you didn't feel strong enough to keep going? Feelings can deceive you into thinking that the delay is a denial, that the silence means you've been forgotten. But faith interprets it differently. Faith says the delay is preparation. Faith says the silence is sacred. Faith says the waiting is not punishment, it's positioning. You may feel tired, worn down, and unseen. You may feel like your prayers are bouncing off the ceiling. But remember, these feelings do not define truth. The truth is that you are being strengthened through your struggle. The truth is that growth often comes wrapped in discomfort. The truth is that you are not fighting alone, even when no one else seems to see your pain. Faith over feelings means trusting in the unseen hand that guides you through the storm. It means believing that there's meaning in the mess and purpose in the pain. It means standing firm when everything in you wants to run. Sometimes faith looks like taking one small step forward when your heart wants to collapse. Sometimes it's whispering a prayer through tears. Sometimes it's simply refusing to quit when quitting feels like the only option. Your feelings may tell you that you're too weak, but faith reminds you that strength is made perfect in weakness. Your emotions may say that you've failed, but faith declares that your story is still being written. Feelings fluctuate with the circumstances. Faith remains anchored in something eternal. That's why you can't let your emotions steer the direction of your life. They were never meant to be the driver. They're indicators, not instructions. Every great person who has ever overcome hardship learned to master this truth: feelings come and go, but faith endures. Think of all the people who changed the world. They faced rejection, pain, and doubt. But what kept them moving wasn't how they felt. It was what they believed. They believed their purpose was bigger than their pain. They believed that the finish line was worth every stumble along the way. They believed that quitting wasn't an option because faith doesn't bow to feelings. Faith over feelings is a daily choice. It's not something you conquer once and never struggle with again. It's a mindset you build one act of courage at a time. It's saying, I may not feel ready, but I'll go anyway. I may not feel strong, but I'll fight anyway. I may not see the outcome, but I'll believe anyway. And each time you make that choice, faith grows stronger while fear grows weaker. There will always be moments when your emotions try to overpower your conviction. You might feel like giving up, walking away, or doubting everything you once believed. But that's when you must remind yourself that feelings are temporary while the promises of faith are eternal. The sun doesn't stop shining just because the clouds cover it. Your purpose doesn't disappear just because your emotions can't see it. So keep walking, keep believing, keep standing when your feelings want to make you fall. Let your heart break if it must, but let your faith hold it together. When your tears fall, let them fall, but don't let them wash away your hope. Faith is not about ignoring the pain. It's about believing that something beautiful will come from it. You may not understand everything right now. You may not feel the strength you wish you had, but faith over feelings means you trust that what's happening now is not the end. It's the making of you. It's teaching you endurance, building your character, and preparing you for what's ahead. Perseverance builds purpose. It is the quiet, steady force that separates those who wish for greatness from those who walk into it. Life was never meant to be easy. Every dream, every goal, every vision comes wrapped in trials designed not to stop you, but to strengthen you. The road to anything meaningful will always pass through moments of pain, confusion, and doubt. Yet, it is in those moments when everything in you wants to quit that your purpose begins to take shape. When you persevere through adversity, you discover who you really are. Most people never find their true strength because they run from the very trials that were meant to reveal it. The storms of life are not there to destroy you. They are there to define you. You cannot build endurance without resistance. You cannot discover courage without fear. You cannot fulfill your purpose without first facing the pressure that molds it. Every test you face is shaping your heart for what is to come. The struggle that feels unbearable today is building the foundation for the person you are becoming tomorrow. Purpose is not found in comfort. Comfort breeds complacency. Growth requires stretching, and stretching requires discomfort. That's why perseverance is not just a decision, it's a daily commitment to rise even when you fall, to try again even when you've failed, and to believe even when you can't yet see the outcome. The easy path might seem tempting, but it will never produce the strength required to carry destiny. The people who change the world are not the ones who never fall. They are the ones who refuse to stay down when they do. Every person you admire, every hero you read about, every story that inspires you, they all share one thing in common: perseverance. They kept going when others stopped. They chose faith over fear, hope over despair, and persistence over defeat. They understood that the fire they were walking through was not meant to burn them, but to purify them. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Gold is refined by fire. In the same way, your purpose is revealed in the furnace of perseverance. Sometimes the process feels unbearable. You pray, you work, you believe, and still nothing seems to change. The doors remain closed, the answers delayed. You begin to wonder if maybe you've misunderstood your calling. But remember this: delay does not mean denial. What feels like a pause in your life is often preparation. Perseverance teaches you patience, humility, and resilience. It deepens your faith and broadens your vision. It aligns your heart with a higher plan, one that may not make sense now, but will one day make perfect sense. Perseverance also builds gratitude. When you've fought for something, you cherish it more deeply. The struggle teaches you to value progress, no matter how small. It reminds you that success is not measured by speed, but by endurance. You begin to understand that purpose is not a single moment of triumph. It's a lifelong journey of faithfulness. The climb may be long, but the view from the top is worth every step. There will be times when you'll want to quit, times when the pain feels too heavy and the road too lonely. But that's when you must remind yourself why you started. The dream in your heart was placed there for a reason. It's not an accident, it's a calling. And the fact that you're still breathing means your story isn't over yet. Every obstacle you overcome becomes proof that you are capable of more than you think. Every failure becomes a lesson that moves you closer to your purpose. The truth is, perseverance is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about getting up one more time than you fall. It's about pushing through the noise of doubt and disappointment to listen to the quiet voice that says, keep going. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to take the next step in faith. Because every step you take, no matter how small, carries you closer to the life you were meant to live. When you persevere, you become a testimony. Your endurance becomes a story of hope for someone else. You may not realize it, but your journey is inspiring others who are silently fighting their own battles. The strength you build in private becomes the light that guides someone in darkness. Perseverance is contagious. It breathes courage into weary souls and reminds them that giving up is not an option. One day, you will look back and realize that every tear, every setback, every sleepless night was part of something far greater than you understood. You'll see how every unanswered prayer was leading you to the right answer at the right time. You'll see how every closed door redirected you to something better. And you'll thank God that you didn't quit when it would have been easier to walk away. Because the truth is, your purpose was not lost. It was being built through perseverance. So, when you find yourself in the middle of the storm, remember that storms don't last forever. The sun will shine again. When the path seems unclear, trust that you're still being guided. Perseverance is not blind endurance. It's believing that the pain has a purpose. It's trusting that the process is working even when you cannot see the progress. Do not let temporary pain cause you to abandon a permanent purpose. You were made for more than defeat. You were made to overcome. The challenges before you are not barriers. They are bridges. Every time you choose to persevere, you rise a little higher. Every time you refuse to give up, your spirit grows stronger. The pressure that was meant to break you becomes the very thing that builds you. In the end, perseverance does more than bring you to your destination. It transforms you along the way. It builds faith, character, and purpose within you. It turns ordinary people into extraordinary examples of hope. So, when life presses you down, press back harder. When the world says you can't, let your perseverance answer, watch me. Because perseverance is not just about surviving. It's about thriving through the struggle. It's about standing tall in the face of fear, believing in something greater than your pain, and knowing that the fire within you is stronger than the storm around you. And when you reach the other side, you'll see that every trial, every delay, every hardship was not wasted. It all built the purpose you were created to fulfill.